Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Cancer is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Cancer, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And the Hanged Man. I feel like we've had the Hanged Man for you recently. I don't know if it was the first card or not. It might have been, I don't know. I'm pretty sure we did, though. You're the kind of person that doesn't always put their needs first. Okay? You are, in some ways, I think, in some ways you are, you're sacrificing yourself for the sake of others, right? I feel that you're trying to get back to a place in your life where things make more sense, right? As Cancers, I think we have a tendency to become very emotional, right? And sometimes we take things personally. Sometimes there is something going on in life that really just hits us hard. And it could be a little thing, but it sends us into this kind of nosedive, right? With the Hanged Man here, it's kind of like we are kind of wallowing in something, okay? And I think that for all of your generosity, all of your efforts, all of the sacrifices that you've made, I feel as if you're taking it very personally that others aren't sacrificing for you in the same way. Yeah. Because it feels like you expect everybody else to kind of be as self-sacrificing as you are. And if you're sacrificing and you're giving and you're kind of deprioritizing yourself or your needs, it was kind of like waiting for the other person to do it too, right? Waiting for there to be some kind of a fair, response from friend, family member, coworkers, the company itself, a romantic partner, whatever it might be, right? So I feel like we're kind of in this phase right now where we're taking it personally, and I think it's really putting a sour taste in your mouth toward the other, right? Whether it's the company or the friend or the family member or the lover, whatever it is. Okay? But at the same time, I feel like you have a strong sense of your own spiritual path. Okay? I think that you are very committed to your spiritual practice, whatever it might be, your religion or, your spiritual work, your internal work. And sometimes when these things happen in the outer environment, Cancer, what do? We go up into our shell, into that crab shell, And it's in there where the most important of your spiritual work takes place, okay? So in some ways, this reaction that we have toward the environment is productive in a strange way, right? We need some context with this card because I kind of feel like we don't like this, but then we kind of do, okay? And we've got the Seven of Wands. We experience this conflict with the world, and it's almost as if we want that, right? But like I said, at the same time, we don't. We've made a lot of progress through the challenges of our lives. And I think the most spiritual progress for you occurs when you have this kind of crisis with the environment. This kind, almost a rude awakening, almost kind of a cognitive dissonance, right? When you take something personally, or you get offended, or you have this kind of realization about the true nature of somebody else, I kind of feel like with this combination of cards that sometimes we get ourselves into trouble. Yeah. This could really be, and I think there's something deeper going on there. I think this is part of that kind of spiritual path for you. This is something that you learn more about yourself. You make more progress in your own path through that kind of ordeal, through suffering the ordeals, And I think that if you look back at your life, and we're going to do some more cards here because I want to see if we have anything referring to the past, but I think if you look at your history, you'll see that you've made the most significant progress, not only spiritually, but physically, financially, mentally, emotionally, creative and spiritually. You've made the most significant changes or transitions as a response to the ordeal, as a response to some kind of a crisis in our life, some kind of a trouble that we get ourselves in, So let's see what's underneath the surface. Yeah, there's the Nine of Swords. And maybe it's something that we're learning this about ourselves. We're learning how the most growth comes through in some ways, the most intense suffering, right? It's what teaches us the most. Okay? But we don't want to linger here, because there's a very fine line between kind of using this as a tool or feeling as if there is some sort of value in this itself. Okay, this is like the ascetic monk or something who perhaps through their renunciation or their suffering or their asceticism, that they are purifying themselves and opening themselves up to the divine energy and being more receptive to it and whatever. It's kind of like a training. It's a means to an end, not an end in itself. But there's a fine line here between now just thinking that renunciation is the spiritual energy, that our asceticism is the divine light, right? Or is the spiritual or religious experience. Okay? So we have to be very, very careful with this. This is a tough one. In the background, in the past, we have the sun. We have the Enlightenment. There could be a reference to Christianity here. Okay, this is really a non-sectarian channel. I don't promote any particular religious or spiritual path. I promote energy. I promote positivity. I promote rational thinking. I promote, Taoism more than anything else, I think. But with the sun in the background, I feel like you've got a lot of tools in your toolbox. As far as this self-development, as far as dealing with life, dealing with life outside of ourselves, dealing with other people, really. I think there is something that goes back to your childhood. I think there's an issue with your sibling. I don't know if you lost a sibling or you lost a best friend. Somebody about your age, I think, has passed, right? And it's still very meaningful to you. There's still some significance there with who that person was or what that relationship was. I feel like maybe that was really the first kind of conscious crisis that you went through. We all have these kind of existential or rites of passage kind of things in our lives, when we psychologically, when we're kids, babies even, the kind of the first separation from the mother and all that sort of stuff. I feel like this is the first one, or maybe the earliest one that you really remember was this friend that you had, or sibling, or somebody your age, and the loss that you experienced, and what that situation was, and how it led to a transcendental kind of development for you. It was like through those kinds of things, you make these leaps in your perception or in your spiritual energy, and maybe just in your kind of wisdom or your understanding of the world. Your spiritual development is quickened by these kinds of experiences, these kinds of moments. Okay? There's your power card. There's your power card. There's the chariot card. I'm going to ring the bell here. The chariot is the card that rules the sign of Cancer. And this is at the top. This is really you trying to become the very best version of yourselves. I think lately you've been more aware of this process. I think that you have been, back to the Hanged Man, I can't help but think of Odin. Sacrifices himself to his self, right? That we're willing to suffer what we need to suffer. We are willing to endure. We voluntarily endure the suffering and the ordeals because we know what that will bring to us. It is the means to an end, though. It's not the end in itself, right? Once Odin received all of the answers to the questions of the universe and received the runes and all the wisdom, he got down from the dang tree, right? So we don't want to continue suffering something after we've already kind of, reaped the rewards of it, or kind of have gained the insight or the wisdom that we are hoping for, right, or setting out to gain. Yeah. But the Chariot card. I think this is done for a purpose. I think that your life right now is very much on a particular course. And I do think that when you think back to the path that you've been on, now we can look at the Chariot and we can think that this is just, this is your being, and there is a certain momentum to it. But this card, this energy, the Chariot itself, has traversed a long path already. And it might serve us well to think back at that, on that path, trace the long and winding road that we've already traversed, okay? One, to appreciate how much progress we've already made. One, to see where the path might continue going, but also to see those important moments in your history that have been the most intense. And I think right now it's being emphasized, those moments of the crises, the ordeals, right? But it could also be these very intense moments of joy and pleasure and positive things, of course. Seeing those moments that punctuate your life and how they may have altered the course of your life. And what does that mean to you? Right? What does that tell you about your future? What does that tell you about you, about who you are, and about why you're here? Okay. The Chariot card is also very much, it's giving me some confidence that we don't have to worry too much about the Nine of Swords, that we understand that there is a context, a time and a place, a season for everything, and that you're very much in control of this energy, and that you know what you're doing, that you know how you are utilizing the energy around you, or and when we talk about this, I feel more it's like the emotional energy. That it's sometimes the negative emotions feel stronger and more powerful and more potent than the positive emotions. Okay? And maybe for Cancer, those negative emotions stick around the longest, and they do feel the most intense, so they are the most easily utilized for this magical spiritual work that you're doing. Okay? And I think there's a name for that. I don't know what it is. Let's look at the future position. Three of Pentacles. Yeah, you're in the middle of some kind of operation, some kind of magical quest, or a mystical experience here. Okay, the Three of Pentacles is that we're trying to manifest something, and we've already started the operation. We've already started the gears. The machine's been running, and now we're just trying to finish it. We're trying to complete it. We're trying to get from the 3 to the 4. We're trying to really give birth to something, manifest, crystallize something. Okay. I feel like you have a lot of experience with ritual magic, ceremonial magic, with mysticism, with occultism, esotericism. I feel like you probably know a lot more than me about that sort of thing, because I feel like you're in the middle of an operation here that is meant to produce a particular goal. Okay, I don't know what this goal is, but I feel like it is one of those punctuating moments in your life that is meant to, maybe meant to kind of crystallize a new baseline for you. We're looking to transcend, we're looking to level up, and this is the way we're doing it, and we're almost there. So when we get to the 4 again, that's kind of like we're manifesting, we're being born again, but on a higher plane. All right. Very curious. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor, infinite, and unknown. We're going to set it down over here. We're going to put Frankenduck right on top. Cancer, if you have a better name suggestion than Frankenduck, please drop a comment. All right, I don't like that name. If you have a prediction for that card, drop that in the comments too. Okay? And subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. It is totally free, doesn't cost anything. And it really does help out the channel, and I really, really do appreciate that. We're trying to grow the channel, obviously. And the work that I do is supported by viewers like you. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. General energy now on the path of the serpent. Yeah, the Ten of Cups. Interesting. See, that's the potent emotional energy. That is a feeling that we are full of this emotion, that it is overflowing, that it is almost overwhelming, right? And this to me feels like that intense emotion that then, if it is channeled and directed in a particular way, which I kind of feel is what we're talking about on the path of the dove, that this is the key to manifesting your goals, your desires. We have to take all of this emotional energy and we direct it towards something, and that's the ritual, you know. And to me, it's the difference between what might be, maybe we had the Ten of Swords. What if that was the card, right? The Ten of Swords is us kind of almost ignorantly following a script, following a prescribed ritual, or a method, a methodology, or a script. Following a particular script, an order, a structure to something, thinking that it will lead us to the results we want. But if it's devoid of this intense emotional charge, it's empty. It's not going to work. Your magic is not going to work, right? So it doesn't matter which religion or spiritual path or spiritual tradition you're following. If you're just following it and trying to do everything step by step, I did everything right. I had all the ingredients there. I put them in the pot, but my food was not what I thought it would be. You're missing that ingredient. You're missing that love, right? That emotional intensity. Whatever you want to call it, love or hate, doesn't matter. It's the intensity that really matters. It's feeling that every chakra is alive and awakened. That every aspect of our being is just inflamed with this emotional energy. Just absolutely charged. Okay. I feel like you're also somebody that has a very strong sense of what you want. And that's the first step of magic, knowing what you're trying to do. Knowing what the goal is that you want. You have to have a will. And you have to know what that will is. Before we go about trying to accomplish that will, right? So with the Ten of Cups, I feel like you have a very strong idea of the fullness that you wish your life to be, the love and the beauty and the joy and the bliss that you want. You have an ideal in mind. You know what you're trying to create, and that is your absolute dream life, your happily ever after, whatever you want to call it, and whatever those details are. I feel like you know what those details are, but I wonder if this card's showing up because we need to remind ourselves of that. Okay? Maybe get out your sketchbook, get out your journal, write down what that happily ever after life is for you. Okay? Because again, we have to have the goal in mind before we then exercise our will to manifest that goal. Okay? Let's see what is the card of the environment. We've got some Leo energy now, Cancer and Leo. This is very important for those of you that are on the cusp of Cancer and Leo. But the Prince of Wands here in the position of the environment does show that we need to continue on this journey, that it is a time for action, that it's not very much we don't want to linger here, right? This would be the disaster. This would be kind of our own magic kind of backfiring, right? So we're using them. This is a very dangerous thing. Using all of this emotional energy for a particular goal, but if you don't remain fixed in your will and confident and forward moving, it's going to backfire, and we're going to end up here. And this is not a good place to be, the Nine of Swords. So there is a call to action here that says we have to continue, we have to see this through. You have to continue the operation, and you have to be in charge. You have to be in command of what's going on in your life right now. The obstacle, or the thing that we have to overcome, perhaps, is well, exactly what I said before about there being, we have the recipe, we have the ingredients, we put everything together, but it didn't work. Well, it's not going to work if we don't have that emotional charge, and also if we don't have that intention, right? And if we don't know what the goal is, also we don't know. Let's say you don't know what the dish is supposed to be. Somebody gives you a basket full of ingredients, right, and says you're supposed to make a particular dish out of this. I don't know. How would we do that, right? I mean, we could think of a game, the TV show Chopped, where people are given a basket of random ingredients and you're supposed to make a dish, but you can make whatever you want. And usually it's in the process of cooking that the dish starts to kind of come together, and they make something beautiful at the end most of the time. But they don't have a plan beforehand. They might look at the ingredients and say, okay, what can I turn this into? Okay, that's one aspect of magic, right? And that, I think, is very, very much the magician energy, which we don't have here yet. Being able to take a basket of ingredients and figuring out what the best possible result is that I can make from that. Optimizing our current basket ingredients, right? But I feel that's kind of that's what the impulse might be for you. But I feel like in your case, we need something more concrete. We have to know ahead of time what the dish is, and then we figure out what the ingredients are that we need, rather than working the other way around, you see. So I feel like we kind of have, it seems like it's our natural impulse to go the other way around by seeing, I have all this stuff. What's the most optimal, what's the best thing I can create with all this stuff? Rather than thinking, I think, and this is the challenge for us, is thinking, what do I really, really want? What am I really trying to manifest? And once we have that in mind, then we can go collect our ingredients. We're more likely to go and seek out those things that are absolutely necessary to our will. Okay. And it's both sides of the same coin. It's both magic, right? But I think for you, we need to go against that natural impulse to just kind of wing it, right? Or to just basically see what we've got and look in the cupboard and say, what's the best thing I can make out of all this? I think we're doing something different here. Yeah. Let's look at the outcome card. Well, there's another energy of this, the balance kind of thing, right? The Liber energy, the adjustment card. And this is the card, I think this is the card really of, one, seeing the value of both ways of the magic, right? But see, there's kind of a suggestion of the intellectual side of things and then the emotional side of things. The very practical, I need to learn the language, right? But then I also have to have the heart and the passion to know what to say, right? So it's not about just learning the step-by-step, the rote memorization, the steps and the routine of the ritual. It's about having that passion, that emotional charge, and knowing then what ingredients to put into it. Right? It's hard to have this love and this passion for a goal if we don't know what the goal is. So we have all this emotional energy, I think, because you know what it is that you want to manifest. Very odd reading this. There's not much of a practical sense here in this reading, and I think that's because we only have a 3 of Pentacles. We don't have a lot of practical energy. We got a lot of major arcana, right? We got a decent amount of fire. But the earth energy is not yet crystallized. The details are not yet there. It is still something that is just in the realm of idea. It's still potential. Maybe the operation's already begun, and we have to follow it through, but we also have to remember what it is we're trying to create, and not just kind of, crossing our fingers and hoping for the best, and kind of whatever comes out the other end, I'm going to have to be okay with. I think in that sense, we might be risking creating a monster. creating something that we really don't want, but now we're going to have to take care of it, right? So in this situation, and I do think that there's a practical situation going on with this emotional energy. I think that you have you've withdrawn from the external world a little bit in order to do this kind of inner operation, an alchemical kind of thing, a magical kind of thing, in order to create the kind of environment or to create the end result that you want. I don't know who is necessarily in your environment that we feel whose actions or inactions, right? Because we think of this card here, this card of action, right? Our relationships. So I feel like someone's actions or inactions we've really taken personally. And now we're kind of in this internal state trying to figure out what I really want to have happen in my life. And what I need to do to bring about the result of this magical operation, right? So it's almost like, fine, if they're going to treat me that way, or if this is going to be the reality that I'm subject to, I've got to go within and figure out what reality I want, and then I've got to do that ritual. I've got to work that magic, right? And really, it is a practical thing, but it's not necessarily dressing up in a robe and doing this whole ceremony kind of thing. It's really understanding what kind of life you want, and then what kind of tools do I need, what kind of connections do I need, right? What kind of spirits do I need to invoke, right? What kind of a network do I need to set up? Who do I got to call? Who do I got to talk to? What changes do I need to do in my life? What kind of what kind of circumambulation do I need to do, right? Where do I need to go? What do I need to seek out, right? What decisions do I need to make in a very practical, real world kind of way, right? To get what we desire. And well, I think we should look at the mystery card. I don't know. I think earth energy. I think we need to see that there's, a practical result that's coming by way of all of this. So, earth energy, at least a 4, anywhere from a 4 to a 10, yeah. If you have a prediction, drop it in the comments. Well, holy shit, it's the... Excuse me, sorry. Oh gosh, that's been happening more and more lately. I gotta watch my mouth. This is a family show. I apologize. It was the star card, but it was friggin' upside down, right? It was, and I don't read reversals, and I don't know why this came out upside down. None of the other cards are upside down in the way I hold the pack. This is an anomaly. And now I don't even know if YouTube's going to let this video stay up. I'm not supposed to be cursing in these readings. But there is a time and a place for everything, right? There's a season for everything. And I think when we get the star upside down, maybe an expletive is the only response, right? Because I kind of feel that we are, in some ways, putting the cart before the horse. When we see the star card, I think there's this inner illumination that happens, and then the inner illumination allows us to see the path before us. This card's upside down. I feel like we're doing things the opposite way. We're doing things the wrong way. We're starting with the last step and moving forward to the beginning. Maybe I've got this whole thing backwards. Maybe it's not a matter of knowing exactly what you want first and then collecting the ingredients. Maybe it really is the other way. And I think that it's up to you to interpret, okay, of what is right for you given the context of your particular situation. Maybe it's just a matter of we don't have to have all the details figured out. That first of all, we need to see the path illuminated before us and we need to start walking. Okay? Whatever situation you're in with that hanged man energy, maybe it's just a matter of walk somewhere, get going, make some sort of movement, take some sort of action, get the path going before we get here. And maybe the hanged man is sinking deeper and deeper and deeper and has almost landed in this kind of spiky pit, right? So maybe it's just a matter of, look, you don't have to have everything figured out, Cancer. Just get going. And the path, as you walk the path, it will illuminate what is within you, and you'll start to figure out what you want at the end. I think I had this all freaking backwards. But I think it's becoming clear now. I think the situation you're in is not one that you should linger in any longer. I think any movement is going to be the right movement. And then we have to allow the inner illumination. We have to start knowing what it is we want, what kind of life we want. But I think maybe first we have to get out of that hanged man energy. Okay? Very strange reading today. Very, very strange. We are going to do an extended reading if you want to stick around. Link up top, link down below. New readings for Cancer, Tuesday and Friday. This was a bonus. And I don't know why I felt the need to come in and do a bonus reading. I was almost back in my pajamas, but I just said, wait a minute. There's something going on with Cancer, and I still don't know what it is. Might have to do another bonus reading. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything. All right. And leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from, especially if this is your first time here. I want to welcome you. I don't often curse in my readings. It is a family program. But welcome to the channel. I appreciate you. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.